Okay, let's look at Eleanor Rigby and let's take a look at this song as if it were a poem. And we're going to analyze the lyrics and we're going to compare it to Richard Cory, which we read yesterday. Look at all the lonely people. So right away, the narrator, the singer in this song, basically the same thing as a narrator in a poem, right? The narrator tells us what the song will be about, repeats it twice. Apparently, we're going to be talking a lot about loneliness in this song. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been, lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? There's a lot going on right there. Our first character is introduced to us as she cleans up rice that was thrown by the people at a wedding. She's not celebrating at a reception. She's not with anyone. She's by herself cleaning up the rice after a wedding. It's a lonely scene. It's not her wedding, right? She's by herself cleaning up the rice at this church. The narrator says she's wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. So what does that mean? Let's just think about that. Wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. What might a woman keep in a jar that has to do with her face, right? Some kind of makeup, cold cream, something that she applies to her face. So what is this figuratively? Wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. What is it figuratively? What is it literally? Think about that for a second. It's a mask, right? It's something she puts on her face to change who she is in some way. Then the line, who is it for, really hammers home just how lonely she is. She puts on this mask, this face, but she's not with anyone. She's not around anyone. Who is it even for? Who sees her? And the people who do see her, are they truly, really seeing her when she goes to church, when she's at this wedding? Do people notice her? She puts on a mask that she puts on a face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? So now we go back into the chorus to remind us of the loneliness, all the lonely people. Where do they all come from? So there's all the lonely people. It's not one person, it's all the lonely people. They must come from somewhere. Why are they lonely? Why don't they have each other? He's going to tell us about another character in the next verse. Father Mackenzie, who is writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear. No one comes near. Look at him working. No one will hear his sermons. So does that mean that nobody comes to church? Maybe. Or does that mean that the sermons aren't getting through to the congregation? People are there, but no one really truly hears what he's saying. Again, these words paint a very lonely picture. We look at him working, imagining him alone, quietly, by himself, writing words that no one will hear. Back onto the chorus, all the lonely people, where do they all come from? We've got two lonely people he's already told us about. Where do they all come from? Why aren't they together? There's all these lonely people out there. Why are they all by themselves if there's so many of them? The final verse now is the last thing we're going to hear about both of these characters, Eleanor Rigby and Father Mackenzie. The last thing we hear about Eleanor Rigby is Eleanor Rigby died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came. So she died in the only place that the reader, the listener, knows that she goes, the church. She was buried and nobody came. No one noticed that she died. What does it mean that she was buried along with her name? I want you to think about that. She died. Her body was buried along with her name. What does it mean if her name is buried and gone? Moving on to Father Mackenzie in this final verse, the last thing we hear about him, Father Mackenzie wiping the dirt from his hands as he walks from the grave. No one was saved. So these are two lonely people, Eleanor Rigby, Father Mackenzie. They finally do come together at the end, but it's too late. They come together after she's dead. He's there to bury her.